So, mental health management requires a lot of different things. It's like saying, what's the best way to manage my physical health? Now, assuming that you're healthy to begin with, we could come up with 4, 5, 6 great ways of staying healthy. Get enough sleep, eat the right foods at the right times of day, at the right times of year. Get some good exercise, drink enough water, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. You just have to go to Google or listen to anybody these days, and there's lots and lots and lots of methods to maintain health, assuming that you're healthy to begin with. But if someone comes to you with heart disease or cancer or some other illness and says to you, what's the best way to maintain my health? Well, these 4 or 5 things I've just mentioned certainly would be helpful to them, but they also need a lot more. They need some more very specific guided treatment. And it may fall in those categories. It may come under the right food. But it's not going to be just a matter of get enough fruits and vegetables and grains and stay away from meat and sugar. There's going to be something more specific, more tailored based on what your ailment is. And you may need something even beyond that. There may be medicine you need, whether it's allopathic medicine, whether it's Ayurvedic medicine, homeopathic medicine, naturopathic medicine. But there may be additional things required. And the same thing is true with mental health. So we can say if you are very mentally healthy to begin with, well, to maintain it, to stay healthy, some of the similar things, get enough sleep. Actually, lack of sleep has a huge impact on our mental functioning, on our mood. So does our food. So does our diet. So does proper hydration. Amazingly, so does exercise. And we would add, do yoga, meditate, have a spiritual connection. A spiritual connection is one of the most powerful predictors of mental health. Have deep connection. Deep connection. Ideally, a deep spiritual connection, but also deep connections in your life with others. Serve. Use your life to serve others. Do something meaningful so that at the end of the day when you go to sleep, it mattered to someone that you got out of bed that day. Because to get up every day and not have any kind of a ripple impact upon the planet or anyone's life is depressing. I mean, the fact that the planet would be no different whether you got up or didn't get up, that's a very depressing thought, even if I'm not depressed to begin with. So, assuming that you've got robust mental health to begin with, maintaining your physical health, bringing in a spiritual component through meditation, through prayer, through devotion, yoga, great for the body, great for the mind, great for the heart, service connects us to others, makes us realize how much divine flows through us. But if you're dealing with a situation where you've already got mental distress, well, you may need a lot more than that. It may take components of that, but you may need more. If you've been traumatized in some way, if you've got anxiety, if you've got depression, if you've got any one of innumerable illnesses, if you're suffering from addictions, from eating disorders, from so much that we struggle with in so many ways, well, some additional assistance is of great benefit. Therapy, again, there's a whole variety of different types, but some way in which you are working directly with what you're suffering from. And medication. You know, in some cases, for some people, for some certain periods of time, it's really helpful. I'm not anti-medication at all. As long as it's not used instead of doing the work. So if I'm suffering from depression, let's say, and I'm so depressed that I cannot drag myself out of bed. I cannot get out of bed in the morning. And I'm suicidal, I want to kill myself. And medication can help me get out of bed, keep myself from killing myself. Well, that's fantastic. But then I need to use the fact that I've gotten out of bed and I'm still alive to actually do my work to overcome my depression. It's not just, oh, now I take these pills and I feel better. The pills are that which are used to help us be balanced enough, have the energy enough to stay alive, to get out of bed, to do our work, to show up at therapy or counseling or yoga or wherever we go, so that we actually can heal. So I would definitely not say they're a magic bullet by any means, because we're not just chemical beings. To say that medicine itself was the cure-all implies that mental illness is simply a chemical problem. And it isn't. Yes, there's chemical components, but it's a problem rooted in issues of our society, issues of the way that we run our systems, our communities. It has to do with our individual experiences, that which we've been through. There's so much that leads to mental illness that's not just about a chemical imbalance. So medicine is not the cure-all, but it is fantastically helpful, fantastically beneficial for some people with some illnesses for some period of time. And I'm all in favor of that. It's like if you've got diabetes and you're going to die from diabetes, long before you can get your exercise program working, long before your lifestyle changes and eating habits changes can bring down your blood sugar. By all means, take whatever you need to take to keep your blood sugar low enough that you don't die, while you bring about lifestyle changes so that ultimately you can take less and less of the medicine, and even ideally at some point be able maybe to go off it. So I think of psychological medicines in the same way. They're things that we use, ideally temporarily, to help us through a period of time to be able to do the work that we need to actually heal. Now, there are some illnesses, psychotic illnesses mostly, in which people will be medicated for most of their lives. People with schizophrenia, for example, will be medicated for most of their lives. People with some forms of bipolar disorder will be medicated for most of their lives because there is a huge chemical component that doesn't respond nearly so well at all to non-chemical forms of treatment. But what's most important is to realize there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you weak any more than needing medicine for diabetes makes you weak. The point of our life is to use all tools that we have to live a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, deep, connected, in love, in peace, in awareness, in joy. And if a medication can help me find that when I'm unable to find it, for a period of time as I learn the way to find it myself, there's nothing to be ashamed of there. Lastly, then, in terms of do yoga and meditation just help us manage the anxiety or become free, we can become free. It's one of the greatest truths of the world, and it's an interesting thing to talk about because just today exactly is the day that Jaiko, which is a big Indian publisher, has released today the Indian edition of my memoir called Hollywood to the Himalayas. And it was published last summer in America, but the Indian edition taken up by Jaiko has literally just come out today. And I mention that here because my journey was a journey of healing and transformation, as the subheading of the book is. I struggled a lot. I suffered a lot. I found through spirituality, through yoga, through meditation, through surrender, through devotional practices, through inquiry and gyan and study, actual freedom from it. I used to think before I came to India that the best you could do was manage your life. I was 25, and to me that was the highest goal. I had learned personally to manage my life. There had been times of my life when I wasn't managing it nearly so well. But by the time I was 25, I had gotten to a point where I felt like I was managing. I was managing my pain. I was managing my anger. I was managing my struggles. I was managing my relationships. I was managing my school. I was in the midst of getting my PhD in child neuropsychology. Because that's an interesting thing about mental health and mental illness, is remarkably a lot of us, even as we suffer, are amazingly highly efficient and effective, and you would have no idea from the outside in how much we're suffering. So you can't, and it's an important point to mention on Mental Health Awareness Day, people struggling with anxiety, with depression, with addiction, with all of that we struggle with, do not necessarily look different. They don't necessarily writhe around on the floor in pain and anguish for everyone to kind of walk around them like this is a person in trouble. We don't all stand on soapboxes on a corner and people cross the street because we look really crazy. A huge percentage of people who are suffering are highly proficient in so many ways. But it wasn't until I came to India that I actually discovered I could be free, not just manage. That it wasn't about management. It was about freedom. So as we start to get the beautiful blessings of Akash Ganga, the Ganga from the sky, yes, you can be free. Yoga, meditation, spirituality, doing your own work. You've got to do the work to let go of that which is creating the anxiety, of those patterns. And then, yes, you actually can become free, not just manage it.